was thinking about what I talked about, or what I talked about, and what I was thinking about yesterday around mindfulness meditation, how it's a skill. Every skill can be developed and practiced, and if you think it's a waste of time, that means you're just very low on the meditation skill side of things. I also I kind of stumbled on a couple things. So one of those ideas, or one of the things that you can kind of start being, or awareness is everything, is what I'm noticing. Like if I can be aware in the moment of myself, my thoughts, my feelings, be aware of, like, while I'm working, how I'm thinking, how I'm working with someone. Am I talking more? Like, this is a big part of this podcast or whatever it is, YouTube channel, of talking less with clients. Like, I'm here to help them. The easiest way to help somebody is ask questions and listen. And that is a lot harder for me than just talking. So the the awareness piece of kind of what wavelength you're in on any given day is a really big game changer for me. I learned about those wavelengths. Remember BAT D, and then there's a G. G is the new one. It's gamma. That is most related and close to flow state. So I would look at that as like just above beta, that go mode, survival mode type of thing. So BAT beta, there are three levels to it: high beta, mid beta, low beta. Then there's alpha, then there's theta, then there's delta, and then there's gamma. That kind of, it's above everything, but I don't know why. I think it was just because it was introduced last in the book that I read, that's the last one. But ultimately, it would be kind of the highest brain function. That I would say it's survival for construction, not for survival for survival's sake. So I learned that stuff. Like I remember learning something about wavelengths in college, but the Joe Dispenza work is really what kind of highlighted that for me and brought it to reality of, oh, I'm living most of my day in this high beta wavelength. I'm thinking about the past. I'm thinking about the future. I'm constructing different scenarios that they haven't happened. I found that, like, I was emotionally charged by everything. I'm angry. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I'm irritated, whatever it was. And I realized, like, oh, I'm kind of, I've been stuck in that wavelength of brain function. So meditation, mindfulness. The biggest thing, again, we talked about is just there's a overarching awareness to yourself that comes from practicing mindfulness and meditation. It allows you to kind of experience that you are just in go mode, beta, bring yourself into mid beta, which is like creativity and thinking. If you sit there long enough, you might start coming up with ideas. That's pretty cool. If you again, as you get good at it, you start getting into low beta. Low beta is more about your surroundings, just aware of what you see, what you hear, how your feet feel on the floor, where you are in space, where you are in a room, whatever it is. Then you get into alpha, which is much more of a internal wavelength. So you feeling yourself, feeling, not physically, feeling your heartbeat, feeling your hands, feeling warmth, cold, tension, relaxation, anything of the sort. Then you get into theta. That's the one that I missed yesterday and just kind of stared at the screen for and just blanked it. Theta is like when you hear people say, I'm getting into the meditative state, or you've got people that are pursuing meditation like monks. Our whole lives are constructed around pursuing this wavelength of meditation and this connection with self and kind of everything. That would be that theta wavelength where you're barely conscious. Like the Dispenza talks about it as being kind of the way to tap into your subconscious. So in reality, it's kind of like we've talked about second brain, first brain. Second brain is who you are. It's our new brain. It's our neocortex. It has evolved tremendously over our short existence in the universe, and it's constantly working, constantly evolving. First brain is our survival center. You can think of it as our reptilian brain, and that hasn't changed much. Like our survival instincts are very, very similar to what they were as or as early humans of threat detection, constantly asking if it's safe. Is it safe? Is it safe? Is it safe? And that's where our second brain has evolved to go, hey, yeah, it is. There are no tigers around the block. There are none of the survival issues that we experienced way, way back, even though, again, our first brain is kind of still wired for that type of stuff. So that would be that theta. That's kind of how Dispenza talks about it. It's like, have you ever taken a drive and then you just realize that you got there? Like you weren't aware of your drive, you weren't aware of anything. It's a terrifying experience, in my opinion. I've been there plenty of times where my mind is just racing. He called that kind of like the theta wave. I haven't had that experience with meditation as that being the theta wave. I think of that as much more beta, and you're just so stuck in thought that it overcomes all of your other senses. And I think that's not what we're going for when it comes to mindfulness and meditation. So what I've experienced when I get into that kind of, I'm no longer thinking about everything. I'm no longer aware of where I am. I'm not getting creative thoughts, learning, like connecting things that I'm learning, whatever. I'm not even really aware of myself, my insides, how things feel. You just kind of, like I call it like it's like a nodding place. Like I often find myself just kind of like nodding to sleep. When I come out of it, I don't come out of it like I'm not, and I'm awake like I went like in class. This is much more just kind of a in and out of just, I'm not asleep, I'm not awake, I'm just kind of in this middle place. And then you get into, so that's bat, D, delta, sleep waves. And then we talked about gamma, which is really exciting in that there's kind of a wavelength around flow state, just being completely submerged in what you're doing in a constructive, creative, or destructive way. So just wanted to kind of add the thoughts that came to mind after I finished that and went, oh, I left a lot of stuff. And again, and the other part of that is some compassion for humans. Yeah, I said, oh, you suck at that skill. It's okay that we suck at things, but I'll start using, we're very low on the quality spectrum or whatever, but in reality, yes, it's a skill. If you're saying it's a waste of time and you're not getting anywhere, and why am I going to spend another 5 minutes doing that? That just shows where you are in the skill development. And today, we're going to talk about how that actually highlights that your brain needs help. Plain and simple. So what I have stumbled upon on just this journey of, again, biomechanics, thinking about body my whole life, or not thinking about anything and not really reflecting on anything, but as I gained an education in humans and an exercise or athletic training degree or athletic training program that led to an exercise science degree, and just how much emphasis we put on how our bodies work, how our bodies move, with really no connection or salience as to like, hey, this matters to the neck up. It was just kind of like, yeah, we have that stuff, we know it, but you can't do anything with it, so memorize it, do well on the test with it, and move on from it. Where I just looked at that and went, I'm not a good student, so you just told me don't learn that, or don't memorize that stuff. I didn't learn. I didn't build constructs that all of these pieces fit into. Like a great example would be like a history lesson. You learn about a certain period of time. And in that period of time, you are filling in the players, how they interacted with that period of time, what evolved in that period of time. Like history is fascinating now because I've done a lot of brain rehab, but in the middle of my academic career learning about history, I knew learning as memorization. I don't know if I missed a day in elementary school or middle school. I don't know if other schools taught kids how to think or strategies to think. I don't know. It's a part of, I hope that comments come in on, yeah, I had critical thought as a 14-year-old. But for me, I missed a lot of the how do you be a good student stuff. And I don't know why. But I looked at learning as memorization. So in college, if it was learn about the neck down or the neck up, the importance was put on the neck down. And so I looked at it and went, well, I can't memorize everything anyway. I'm shooting for a C here. So great, you just told me that that stuff doesn't matter in reality, in practical application. I will just ultimately ignore it. So I didn't get a lot of brain understanding. I remember learning the cranial nerves, the cortex at a basic level. I really enjoyed biopsych. That was a very, very cool class that was connecting kind of another layer of depth in physiology with psychology. So what's happening in a brain physiologically during different responses and all that kind of stuff. That was a really cool class. But again, it didn't, nothing really put into application. Like I finished my degree, I finished college, I was not interested in a master's degree or a doctorate in physical therapy or a doctorate in chiropractic. School's not for me. So I just got to work as a personal trainer and realized like, oh, my education didn't give me any practical value. Like, yes, there was a point where I worked with a Parkinson's patient, part of my senior thesis. That was the first time I worked with someone that had a goal of change. And we found really cool results by having him exercise and run in the water, and some really cool changes in his gait and overall function. But it didn't teach us how to do that. That was a personal interest. I'm curious if something like that can happen. And I'm glad I kept that curiosity because that is the driver for where I am now in the pursuit of a lifelong education. Like, I'm not saying, hey, I'm only going to focus on neurology. I want to learn. I want to learn anything and everything that can help me conceptualize being a better person for myself and others. So going from that conversation with mindfulness meditation and ultimately that, oh, it's a waste of my time, I don't like it, I'm ditching the habit, whatever it is, because I'm not seeing any change or any value. That shows, again, for me, that there is something going on in your brain. So here's the idea. Your brain health projects your mental health. Your mental health projects into your conscious reality. Woof. Like that's a big concept. So again, if I'm working on my mind, hey, I heard that meditation is great for helping myself relax, calm down, learn about myself, be more aware of myself, and it's not happening. Right now, there in our society, there are no solutions as well. Try harder, try longer, try more, try less. Don't do it at this time, do it at that time. It's ultimately just how do I take that mind concept and rework it somewhere where the next evolution of us helping humans is work on mind stuff, talk about who you want to be, create goals, journal about yourself, ask yourself questions. Who am I? Who do I want to be? I didn't ask these questions until last year of myself. Not a lot of critical thought in my history as a human. So left me with a lot of things that it was like I don't like this stuff about myself. I'm angry, I'm irritated, I'm judgmental, I'm critical. Of course, I can fake it in front of everybody. I can show that I'm a kind person and a nice person and a happy and energetic and fun going and collaborative, but inside by myself, like that was not the case. Again, there's a gap there that Dispenza's writing and work really kind of showed and highlighted for me that, oh, I've got a gap. And all those things I don't like about myself are that gap. So if I can start closing this gap, a lot of these things that I don't like about myself might start resolving, and I might actually become that person that I show everybody. It's interesting that you can see that on people's faces. Like if you, I don't know if you've seen those kind of, they take two halves of the face and make one face out of one half and then another face out of the other half, and they look like completely different people. That's the reality of people, is that most of us have two people living inside one body, one mind, which is really fascinating. Like I'm reading a book on, like, she's great, but she's a bit nuts. And every time I read something about her bit nuts, I cover the healthy side of her face and see, yep, that's that person. And then when I see something that's like, wow, that's really intelligent insight and thoughtful and really cool, I cover the the unhealthy side of her face, and I see the really healthy side of her face. You go, ah, yeah, that's that person. Like, it's why, and I'm same way. Like, you could, I'm sure that you can see like an, if I cover one or cover the other, you're going to see like an angrier version, kind of an unhealthier version, and then you'll see more of a bright version and a healthier version. It's weird. So have fun looking at everybody's face symmetry from now on. It's kind of wild, but yeah, most people are kind of two people in there. One that they show the world, one that they don't show the world, one that they are by themselves, and that's mindfulness. Learn about this person. But again, if you're going, I'm not gaining any ground, this is not worth my time, then we need to start, the evolution again is, now we need to start looking at your brain. If you can't produce the mind that you're looking for through mindful work, so talking to somebody, exercising, and getting just overall healthier and unlocking ways to improve yourself, habit change, yeah, like I mean, most everything when it comes to mind stuff comes down to psychology, psychiatry, just talking to somebody, working through things. I mean, go figure. The I think the largest type of book out there are self-help. They are the most published books every year. And I don't know if that's world or America, but it certainly is America, because we aren't taught to learn about ourselves, to reflect on ourselves. It's follow the rules, go to work. That's what we want our society to do. Follow rules, go to work. Make money for yourself and make money for the economy. That's it. So then you can spend that money back into the economy. So that's what we do. So this idea of just working on my mind, I think that's why a lot of people are starting to get pretty frustrated, is because sometimes there's a prerequisite. You need to have a prereq of brain health to work on your mind. And I know that intuitively myself. I was introduced to Dispenza's work. Dispenza is a doctor of chiropractic that had a life-changing injury and accident, went through this process of ultimately fixing himself without any of the most common interventions and surgeries and all that kind of stuff. Led him to go, man, there's a lot, we're capable of some pretty powerful stuff. Starts talking about it, becomes his business model, starts putting out meditations and follow along practices, lectures, travels all over the place, realizes that he's not living what he set out to teach, ditched it all, put a lot of work into himself, mindfulness, meditation, exercise, everything of the sort, and got himself to a place where he felt like, no, I am practicing what I preach. And you can see he has 2 books, and you can see the picture of I've stumbled upon something and I'm sharing it, and you can see the picture of him living it. It's 2 different people. One looks not healthy, one looks very healthy and energetic. He's tired and exhausted. Like, it's pretty wild. It's a very noticeable distinction. It's like the 2 faces literally separated. So here's the damaged, underactive side over here in his first book, and here is the non-damaged and active side in this book. Wild. So what do you do with this information? Why am I talking about it? Because brain training is what I stumbled upon. I didn't know that you could change things about yourself more than body composition, overall strength. I know you can essentially adjust pain, but I didn't get a big experience with that with physical therapy, chiropractic, massage therapy, anything that was just working on my body. It was therapy. I feel a little bit better for a little while. That's better than never. And then it comes back. But at least that little gap gave me some more energy to manage and deal with my pain, my discomfort. So I didn't get a lot of help from those types of things. Yeah, I'm still a bit tired from those fireworks, and there's a lot of World Cup, and it's great. But just working on the mind again, you're going to face a challenge because your mind is a product of brain health. I don't remember where I heard it, where I read it, but your mind is your brain in action. So if your brain is damaged, it's underactive, or it's got something going on, the action that it's going to create is not great. So that's what's missing. Like we know that we want to be aware of our lives. We know that we want to work on our minds. Like mental health is the thing right now. But we aren't talking about how do you achieve mental health outside of exercise, cutting bad habits, positive self-talk, stuff that is, yes, every time you exercise, you are influencing your brain. But if it's a habitual way, you're not going to get the change that's required. You need to create novelty. You need to create changes in your environment, changes to create change in yourself. So you can't keep doing the same things and expect depression to just go away. That's why we have a pharmaceutical market. They know this. They know fundamentally that people aren't going to do the work. So here's a pill. Even then, still people can't take the pill. It's wild. It's a wild concept of being human. So we know that the things that, if I take this, I'll be healthy. Most people struggle to even figure out how to take it every day. And that's research. That's not me. So what can you do for your brain? How do you influence your brain health? Let's talk about some big rocks. We'll talk about just kind of put ourselves into some simplified pillars. We need to see really well. We need to balance really well. We need to move really well. And we need to integrate all of our senses really well. So if we look at things from this perspective, if I want a better mind, I want to be happier, I want to be more motivated, I want to drink less, I want to eat healthier, whatever you choose in your own head, by adding a layer of let me work on my brain health, you're going to start seeing that those things are easier to accomplish and easier to work on. I know that has been the case for myself. I became aware that my mind wasn't good in a pretty dark place. I was in a work environment that was not suitable for me. I was miserable. And I hit a rock bottom moment one night where I was listening to a podcast, and the guy said, if you are pointing the finger out, if you're angry at others, critical of others, agitated, emotional, upset, struggling with sleep, not feeling great, whatever, you're at a rock bottom place. That's a you problem. And at that moment, in that time, I just went, man, I'm at rock bottom. I think if you expect to grow your whole life, you're not going to have one rock bottom moment to push off of. Every time you hit kind of a new escalon of trying to get better and improve yourself, well, you're going to be at the bottom floor again. And that can feel like a rock bottom again, but if you can have awareness, is that rock bottom better or worse than the rock bottom I just came from? So I hit a rock bottom. I realized, my mind is not good. I did not have the awareness. And again, there's that importance of being aware in the moment of yourself. You can do that. It is a thing. You can go drive and go, I'm upset with people on the road. All right. What do I do about it? That's the cool part of brain training, is that's where it comes in. It helps you get the mind that you want. So I didn't know about the separation. I just thought brain, body. Now I look at things as body, mind, consciousness, or brain, mind, consciousness. Brain, body, it's one to me, it's one nervous system. So we can separate it for learning, but ultimately we eventually have to put it back together to say it's one body. That includes the head. Or we hopefully we're good there, that yes, your head is a part of your body. So one body leads to a mind, leads to your lived consciousness. So if you are living a life where you are just not good with it, I'm not good with my work situation, I don't like the commute that I have, everything of the sort, we can work back and go, well, have you worked on your mind? Have you asked yourself tough questions? Have you sat with yourself? Have you talked to somebody? Have you journaled? Have you created questionnaires for yourself, daily gratitude journals, whatever? Think about anything that you can do that, like from the self-help world. It's all mind driven. The next step is body, brain. How do I improve that? So go vision. What are you currently doing with your eyes? I know the average American is a lot of time with a TV, a lot of time with a computer, a lot of time with a cell phone, and very little time in comparison for anything else. So if you're one of those people that, yeah, your day kind of revolves around devices, that's not healthy for your brain. Like, we don't know this stuff yet. I'm here raising my hand going, hey, this matters. I'm seeing it all the time. Like, if you can't sit down for 2 minutes, 5 minutes without your mind just bombarding you with thoughts, you now know, I've got some brain stuff to work on. This is not I'm just not a meditator. No, you're not a meditator because your brain won't allow you to. It's already at capacity. So you need to work on your brain, not just discount it and say, well, that's not me. Nope, you are low on the skill level, and you're probably low on that skill level, one, because you haven't practiced, two, your brain is keeping you away from that ability because it's not healthy enough. So reducing screen time, massively important for the long-term health of yourself. Short term, it wants you to stay on it. That's by design. That's nothing more than millions and millions of dollars being put into research and development by these companies to say, how do we keep people on our devices? They are here to make money, and unfortunately make more money every quarter. So that is how they're thinking about your screens, is how do we make more money on them? You can make it more expensive. You can make the cell phone more accessible. There are pricing packages, buy one, get one, family plans, whatever. They can make it more accessible, but they've also done all of the research to how can we keep them on them longer? So if you're on your phone more than, honestly, like I notice a difference, and I'm a little bit more on an extreme level because of the amount of concussion that I've had in my lifetime, that I've got a lot of brain damage already, and now I know that. So I'm working on the brain damage to improve my mind so that I live a life that I'm pumped about. So I'm a little bit hypersensitive to all this, but I can tell you that over an hour a day of just being on my phone has a negative impact on my mind. Plain and simple. It starts with your brain. So what's happening to your brain while you are on your phone? From a vision perspective. One, it is a light wavelength that is drawn to keep your attention. So the more you look at it, the more ramped up your midbrain gets. Your midbrain is where your autonomic nervous system starts. It's also where all of your eye movements live. So as I'm gluing my eyes to this wavelength, my blood pressure is increasing or dysregulating. My heart rate is dysregulating. My respiration is dysregulating. My hormone and endocrine function is dysregulating. Just by staring at that thing. Just by staring at the bigger the screen, the more your eyes have to move. So there is a eye movement component because that is midbrain function. So that's what's happening just looking at your screen all the time. Think about the difference. We get good at what we practice. We adapt to what we do. So if I'm on a cell phone, the average athlete, when I start working with them, is anywhere between 3 and 6 hours. So let's put it on the low end, 3 hours. At 3 hours a day, I'm looking at this phone. This is how most people use them. They put their face parallel to the floor and they bring their phone right underneath them. So now they're in this position for 3 hours a day. We adapt to what we do. So if I'm not out in nature, if I'm not out in the real world and I'm not aware of my vision, I'm adapting, no joke, to life like this. Think about your vision there. So I'm adapting to seeing things within this range, within the size of my cell phone. So my eyes don't move for 3 hours like they should be able to move. My autonomic nervous system is adjusting to manage this stimulus for 3 hours. I am now saying, hey, brain, this is the only distance that I care about. And again, you can't override this concept with an hour of exercise. Just think simply. If we adapt to what we do and I do 3 hours of cell phone and 1 hour of exercise, what am I going to adapt to? So now that we live in a world where it's I watch TV while I eat breakfast. My work requires me to be on my cell phone and my computer for 6 to 8 hours a day. I unwind by watching Netflix at the end of the day for 2 to 3 hours. You are adapting. Plain and simple. You are adapting in a way that you don't want to long term. That's it. So what do I do about this? Now that I know, another piece, blinking rates reduce by up to 60%. So now my blood pressure is higher, my heart rate is dysregulated, my respiration is shallow, I'm not getting oxygen and CO2 gas exchange in an appropriate level for fuel supply. I am moving my eyes less, I am sticking them in a certain distance or a fixed distance. Driving needs a flexible distance. Every sport known to man needs flexible understanding of distance. This is the one place. Video games, at least you're having to react. You got hand-eye reaction going on, so we have a world of just thumb athletes. We have the best wired thumbs known to man, but those same kids are losing their distance vision. I'd rather have distance vision than hyper performance thumbs. Thumbs have been doing a great job for us in evolutionary history. We don't need to screw with them. We can still build tools. We can still grab things. We don't need the evolution of now they are awesomely wired to my eye reaction time. Don't care. So blinking rates reduce. Now your eyes are getting less breaks. Again, why we care about it? It affects your mind. Your mind is your brain in action. So if your brain sucks, and most people are they're getting worse and sucking more path, your mind is going to go with it. What does that look like? I'm no longer aware of things. Like, how many people just knock out a day habitually, especially a work day? I do this, then 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 I pass out, I rinse and repeat, Monday through Friday. It's habitual. The idea that you're going to be able to change anything with that is very challenging. We adapt to what we do. So there's the vision column. What do I do about that? How do I counteract that? One, look at your behavior around screens. Get them under a certain number of time. And I'm not going to get into the behavior change. Ultimately, every person that might listen to this needs their own unique individual strategy. Go somewhere else. There are a lot of self-help books. There are a lot of behavior change books. I'm reading them. You can read them too. Most people won't though. But any which way, what do I do about this? You've got a lot of vision break stuff that you can do. Eye cupping. Closing your eyes, putting the palm of your hand over your eyes and practicing seeing black. The more time we spend on screens, the more hyperactive our optic nerve gets. The more hyperactive our optic nerve gets, the more our occipital lobe is lit up and the rest of our brain is lit up because our vision lights up a lot of our brain areas because it's that important. So now my brain is working hyperactively and it can't calm down. So My optic nerve stays on. How will you know that? You'll see things. Your eyes will be closed. You will take away all light with the cups of your hands, and you will still see things. In theory, that doesn't make sense. If there's no light, there's no sight. Light has to hit the back of the retina to make activation of different cells that make different shapes and different colors and different orientations and lines and gradients, and vision is complicated as heck. So eye cupping, just practicing calming your optic nerve down, knowing that it is getting hyperactive every moment you're staring at a screen. Another thing that you can do, blink, rapid blinking. Focus on your eyelids, relax your face, focus on breathing slower and more normal, and blink as fast as you can. We know that phones, screens reduce blinking rate, so your brain is getting less micro breaks in your day without them. Other things, we know that the computer screen is typically within arm's reach, our cell phone is within arm's reach, TV might be the only screen that is outside of arm's reach, but we are adapting. We're adapting to having vision that is adapted to seeing things closer up. So, look off in the distance. Distance staring. This is a hard one. Like if you said, hey, I'm going to set a timer for 30 seconds and I'm going to look at a point as far away as I can see, you'll realize that that is a challenge. Like your eyes might get super dry. They might get super watery. You might just start darting your eyes around, not being able to fixate on that. Other things that you can do, eye movements. We know that eye movements are reduced because of the amount of, like, they don't have to look all the way over there. I have to look to here. That's where my computer is. So I have a limited range of motion based on what my eyes can do. So move them. Practice circles. Practice looking up, looking down, looking left, looking right, looking up left, up right, down left. Use them. Like actively use your eye muscles. Go outside for a walk and say, I'm going to be aware of how much I move my eyes. Matters. Detail. Oh, that's a plant. Can you see the individual leaves of that plant? Can you see the stem of that plant? Can you add detail to the things that you're seeing, knowing that the detail on a screen is very simple. It is designed to be so. If we had to consume a ton of calories to use these devices, the researchers know less people will use them for less often. So we're trying to minimize the overall energy needed to stay stuck on our screens. So that is a start to, okay, what's going on that's impacting my brain for the negative? What can I start doing about it? Again, the idea is improve your brain so that you can improve your mind, so that you can improve your life. Everyone has things that they would love to improve in their lives, whatever it is. So that's one aspect. Let's go to the next column, balance. Think about life in our current world when it comes to balance. Most, again, live habitually. So the balance requirements that we have are sitting and standing, driving. Remember, your balance center is your vestibular system. It lives through your inner ear. I just listened to watched some education with Z Health, and he said, ultimately, if you can't physically get to your inner ear. It's encased in bone. If you did want to get to it, you'd have to shoot a Q-tip through a gun. I thought that was great. So you're not going to get there if you try and go through the ear canals. It's through there, encased in bone. There are 3 canals, semicircular, that are all about head movement. Turning left and right, back and forward, any diagonal, any head movement that you can think about, that is your vestibular system in the semicircular canals. You also have otolith organs. 2 otolith organs that tell you I'm going forward, backward, up and down, tipping side to side, moving my head forward or backward. So if we think about our lives in that capacity, and those 5 organs, 3 semicircular canals, 2 otoliths each side, the moose antlers, what they do for us is they answer 2 questions. Where am I? Where am I going? So think about answering those questions in your own life. How often are you seated not doing anything? Or you're seated not moving. So where am I and where am I going? Very easy answer. Brain gets to go, nice, let's just reduce the overall calories and energy required by the balance system. We're not moving. Driving. Driving is one of the biggest vestibular stimulations that we have on average for the average person. It at least is saying, hey, I had to get up, I changed where I am, I had to sit down in the car, I had to walk to the car, where I am going is changing, and then I have to sit. And now I'm feeling accelerations, decelerations, largely otolith stim. But every time I check my mirrors, maybe I look down at the middle console or where my window thing is, now I'm starting to get some semicircular canal activation. But again, we habitualize everything. So you might be getting activation in your vestibular system simply by waking up and getting up, laying down and going to sleep, standing and sitting some sort of amounts of times from your desk at work. Maybe you're a weekend warrior and you get 2 hours of sport in on a weekend. But if you watch adults play sport, and there's a lot of standing around time there. So if you think, oh, I'm playing a sport for 2 hours, no, you're probably more likely playing a sport for 30-ish minutes and you're standing for an hour and a half, or barely moving for an hour and a half. Gym research, I think like the average goer of an hour is actually exercising and lifting for about 15 minutes. Makes sense why that was a failed experiment on, hey, lose weight, go to the gym. People go to the gym, they sweat a little bit, and they stand a whole lot. And they hang out a whole lot. Much more important is what you're eating, what you're putting in your body on a daily basis, how you're breathing. Those things are massive when it comes to how our body composition is. So balance is another thing that habitualizes. The biggest stimulation is typically driving. And there's not a lot else. So again, our brains are unhealthy based on the environment that we're in, and essentially constructing lives without understanding what our lifestyle does to our brain. And then we expect to be happy and motivated and energetic and not depressed and not anxious and all of these types of things. But in reality, our brains are unhealthy. And that makes it so much harder to get the mind that I want. Let's move. How do I do something about it? Move your head. Turn left and right, back and forward, all of the angles, find activities that make you move your head, different ball sports. A lot of people that say, I hate ball sports. Yeah, you got a vision and balance problem. Of course you hate ball sports. It's terrifying because you don't know where the ball is. If you have to move over here to get the ball, you lose where you are in space. Of course you wouldn't want to play a sport. There's brain stuff going on that your consciousness is not going to be athletic. Brain, mind, consciousness. 3 levels that feed on each other. You can change your mind because of your consciousness. Move. Go to a different city. If you're a drinker and you don't want to drink, go to a dry county. Good luck. Change your consciousness, your experience, your environment will change your mind, will do something for your brain. But unfortunately, your brain is the hardest thing to change because it is a conserve energy, don't give up calories type of thing, and it needs to burn energy to create change. So that's why I propose, yes, we know that world. This is the world we live in. Let's go to the brain. If we go that route instead of change my whole life to hopefully feel better, and we don't think about the brain yet, like that is the new piece of this whole puzzle. We just kind of go, let me talk to somebody to improve my life. Let me change my life to improve how I feel inside. Those are kind of our options. And there are a lot of options there, and they definitely work. I'm not saying they don't. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to add. So adding brain stuff. What do? Move your head. Go for walks. Go for backward walks. Go for sideways walks. Skip backwards. Do anything that gets your head moving up and down, forward, backward, side to side, and rotating. Any type of thing. I call them neuro walks. Pick an intention. Vision. Today is a neuro walk focused on vision. All I'm going to do is be aware of moving my eyes, seeing different details and different distances. I'm going to track things as they come by. I'm going to switch between things as I'm walking by. I'm going to understand the depth of this tree versus that tree. Neurowalk. Balanced neurowalk would be, let me be aware of head movement, where I am, where I'm going. I'm going to move my head to look at all of those things that are around. I'm going to tip side to side while I'm walking. I'm going to be aware of moving forward. I'm going to be aware of moving backward. I'm going to be aware of dropping off of the curb, walking down or upstairs. Anything that is moving my head through space, I'm going to be aware of. Movement. Movement is a massive one. That's why, like, out of brain function, that's where we have spent most of our time, all of our time. Movement is the ultimate expression of humans. We need to move extremely well because it best satisfies survival. So movement, you pick it. But if you're going, hey, I do a lot of movement and I'm still not great at mindfulness, I still am angry, I'm unhappy, irritated, I use substances to balance it out, or I'm just not that great for people, I wish I was a better spouse, I wish I was a better parent, I wish I was a better kid, whatever it is, if that's not work, you need to adjust it. If you're not getting the mind that you want, but you got a lot of movement in your life, you need to make it novel. You need to change something. So think about what all that's in that bucket. Going to the gym and lifting weights, cardio equipment, cardio exercise outside, going for a run, going for a jog, any sport known to man. Sports are the best. Like, they make you to see, they make you move your head, they change where you are in space, they make your movement system work. Like, ultimately, sports are the reflection of the full picture of brain function. Uninhibited. We made gym activities as tools to try and support movement and make it easier. It's a business model, much more than it was the reality of the best things for humans to do. It's a great business model. A lot of people make a lot of money on it. But is it right for humans? You have to determine that yourself. There are so many people that the gym changed everything for them. There are others where the gym changed nothing for them. I think the average person quits within 6 months. It's like 60-something, 70% of people quit the gym within the first 6 months of joining, and often it's because they hurt something. Their movement, their brain was not healthy enough to live that experience. They saw it wrong. Their mind wasn't in the right place. There's a lot of options as to how we get pain in our lives, and most of it has nothing to do with structure. It's nothing to do with a ligament, a meniscus, a disc, etc. It has everything to do with brain health, mind, and how your mind works to produce your reality. If your reality is my elbow hurts, look back. So movement comes in a lot of different ways. The things, go pick up a sport. The hard part with this stuff is getting rid of all of your preconceived expectations. I wanted to run. And I thought, I was taught in my own soccer career that 6 miles is kind of a minimum for a soccer player to run for getting fit for the sport. Not the case, but that's what I thought. That's what I knew. So I want to run. No, I don't want to run 6 miles. Or I want to run. I run 3 or 4, feel absolutely terrible for a week or so. Don't do it again. It wasn't until I broke apart all of my concepts of what does running look like that I said, 5 minutes. Put shoes on, don't even change your clothes, set a timer, run out for 5 minutes and walk back. And that was enough to get myself into more of a habit of running. But if you think, oh, play a sport, you could join the plus over 40 baseball team, softball league, whatever. Could you also go play catch? And make sure that you're throwing the ball over here, you're throwing the ball over there, you're having to run over and get it over here, run over and get it. Thinking, again, can I use this activity to stimulate my vision, stimulate my balance, stimulate my movement? Simple enough. So we can add any layer of sport there. If you're going, nope, not interested in sport, don't want to do it, think about any other movement practice. Oh, I've always wanted to do yoga practice, but the class schedule doesn't work for me. Hey, there's a caveat. What an interesting and amazing use of the tool in your pocket. You don't need to go to a yoga class. I bet you could go to YouTube and there's a yoga class for you to do in your apartment, in your room, whatever it is. So again, break apart the construct. Think, I want to move. I want to move my head. I want to challenge how my vision is seeing. Simply, there's so many ways to do that. And again, we're saying get off your devices. But if you got off your devices from the scrolling for hours or the mindless activities, and you didn't need to buy that, but you made a reason why you needed to get on your phone to buy that, or I need to check this page, or what, you'll construct a reason. Rarely are those reasons good though. So with that, it's like that's where the use of the tool is amazing. It's a tool. If we let them, tools own us. They're better servants than they are masters. We need to be the master of that tool, but so many people, their phone is the master of them. They are cyborgs at this point. They can't fathom a day where they don't wake up and check their device. They can't fathom a day where they, have 5 minutes where there's nothing planned and nothing going to just sit. Nope. Get that device in front of me. I don't know how to be by myself. My mind is not healthy enough. And typically there's a unhealthy brain that is supporting that unhealthy mind that we didn't know about at all. Now we know. So movement, lots of ways. If you added some complex nonlinear movement, the more complex and nonlinear it is, the better. So if you put that into different activities that we already have constructed, dance is freaking awesome. Go figure, some of the healthier women out there come from a dance background. It is a really great activity. Music, rhythm, complex nonlinear movements, decision making, sequencing, memorization of different movements, lots of great, and then obviously there is largely a social component, a coordinated event for a lot of people together. Like, it's powerful. Like yoga has been around for a long time, and yogis and Buddhists and pretty much anyone that's not American has known that your brain matters and your mind matters at some level. What we can do as Americans and our research capability and all that is add detail to some of those concepts. Yoga was a activity done to help kids go from crazy or just active kids to mindful meditators. So yoga has been around for a long time in the sense of, hey, let's get people moving. There is a respiration component. There is a muscle contraction component. There is a where I'm going, where I am, changing in space component. There is a vision component, whether you know it or not. They're starting to add those into a lot of yoga classes. Look up while you're doing extension. Look down while you're doing flexion. Adding visual spinal reflexes to things. Like, there's a lot of stuff out there. Complex, the things that are not things. If you're going, hey, I do a lot of exercise and I don't have a healthy mind. I'm riddled with anxiety. I use substances to balance that anxiety. That gives me more anxiety when I'm in the withdrawal period of that substance. I can't be by myself. I need to be on my phone. If we have these urges that we can't live without it, that's a good idea that you've got some mind stuff to work on. Things that don't fit the complex nonlinear movement side of things. Gym activities. Bench press, linear. Yes, I had to lay back on the bench press. There was a slight change in where I am and where I'm going. So an otolith stem Maybe I'm looking at the bar, but dang it, that bar is within arm's reach, so I'm practicing more of those habitual practices. Most people they're not aware of anything that they're looking at. I see a lot of videos of workout videos, etc. Most people are looking at where their phones were. Literally. Looking down, doing rear foot elevated split squats. Looking down, sprinting on a treadmill. Looking down, like, it's too simple. So if you squats, linear. Pull-ups, linear. Every machine, linear. Go to the gym and do some rotational exercises, some med ball rotations, complex nonlinear. Elliptical, linear. Bike, linear. Treadmill, linear. Especially if you are saying, I get my exercise in by zoning out to a TV. Not the same. Now you are creating even bigger problems for yourself. It's within arm's reach. It's what you do 8 hours a day already. And now you're going to create an integration problem. And there's the last pillar that we will segue to and get you out of here. Integration. It matters. How you are using your vision, your balance, and your movement together. We talked about how flights and driving create a integration nightmare. If there's a lack of integration, you will burn more calories, but not in a good way. You're going to create a brain that is upset and is trying to remedy that to burn calories, not one that is saying, I'm functioning at a super high level and I just need that amount of calories. That's the best way to approach everything, is get yourself functioning at a really, really great level that you're happy with. Stick with it and make sure that you fuel yourself to support that change, and you will start just saying, nice, I burn more calories, that's easier for me to keep my body composition, and it had nothing to do with stress and stressing an already pissed off brain and nervous system. So the integration piece, we just talked about exercise. Don't stare at a device and try and exercise. Yeah, you'll get a little bit better. You'll also have negative effects because it's more time on a screen that you're not accounting for because it's exercise. It's not me sitting on my screen. It is. It's now you just standing, moving, and creating an integration nightmare. So if you're going to be stationary on gym activities, fake it. If you're walking on a treadmill, look around like there's stuff that's actually fun to look around at. Use your eyes. Stride out, walk backwards, walk sideways, walk like an Oompa Loompa. Like, do things that are different. Don't habitualize that type of movement. Integration of, I think really the integration piece to be aware of is use your eyes, use your inner ear, use your balance system, use your movement system together as much as you can. Ideally, they're like in a perfect world, they would be just natural activities. I'm hiking, I'm walking, I'm running, but not just running to run, running to as an experience, looking around at things, like not wearing headphones, not wearing sunglasses, being in that moment. Where most people, they exercise to suffer, or they feel like they need to suffer, or they just try and figure out a way to get through it. Not the same. That's not the same for brain health. I know a whole lot of people that do a whole lot of exercise and are not healthy at all in their mind or in their brain. That is their compensation. So you stare at your phone for 8 hours, that guy gets up at 4 in the morning and runs a marathon. Not healthy either. The guy's breaking down, he's got anger stuff, his mind is not in a good place, but he's using exercise to cascade back down to say, I'm not happy with my mind, I don't know anything about brain function, so let me exercise the hell out of myself to keep myself from my own mind. Or my mind is so bad that I need tons of exercise to get to a place that I can live with myself. If we add the brain piece, now we get to see that influencer run because it makes him healthier. Not, oh my God, look at the stress fractures in his foot. Look at the knee problems he's got. Yeah, he lost a ton of weight, but He doesn't look like he's doing okay. Like, cool, you take a picture of your clock at 4 in the morning every day when you wake up. Is that because you are super excited and motivated to get started with the day? Or is that you slept like crap? Let me get up now. One of my worst contractors. Contractors piss me off at a subconscious level because they often want to start early and loud. That's a mind and brain problem. I can't be at home. I don't want it to be quiet. Let me start banging around at 7 in the morning in a neighborhood. That is not okay, in my opinion. That is an unhealthy person using their environment to try and manage their own issues. Go figure something else out. It's not okay that you're bringing your problems into everyone else's world. Keep them to yourself. So there's my little caveat on the early morning noise. Stop it. It's a brain issue for you. Go figure it out. So that's where we're at in today's world. We don't know how to change our brains. So we try and change our mind. We try and use our environment and our conscious reality to change our mind. And we go back and forth. So if you're a meditation naysayer, I think it's a waste of time. I've practiced for a year. I've gotten no benefits from it. Instead of just saying, oh, that's just not me, the next step is, why is my brain not okay with this? What do I do for my brain to make my mind better? And that is, I think, the most exciting evolution that we're walking into as humans. We have a lot that we can do for brains. That's my profession. Is I look at all of these places, assess them, get to know you based on your health history and what you might have damaged. You're going to be able to tell me a whole lot about what's going on in there based on what you've done to yourself, what you like to do, what you hate to do. It's all brain derived. So understanding where you come from, understanding how your brain is currently functioning, bringing these subconscious processes to life, working on saccades, working on smooth pursuits, working on virgins. They're all happening. They're just subconscious activities. Bring them to consciousness, make them better, let them go back to unconscious. You're now working with a better brain. A better brain creates a better mind, creates a better reality. It's a really cool time if we can start adopting this stuff and at a faster rate. Unfortunately, we can make a lot of money as it stands, where we have separated the neck down from the neck up. We need to put it back together. That is the next step for us as people, as a society, is nope, we made a mistake. We said separate them so that we could make business models. Like the specialist is furthest away from understanding how we function because they said, I'm going to make a living being a specialist, because you make more as a specialist by focusing on ears, nose, and throat, hands, feet, podiatry, just this, just muscles, just tendons, just ligaments, just bone. It's one organism, and it all works on itself. So the specialist approach, we need to blow it up and get to a more global approach, because that's how we're going to help people. I know it seems wild. Get more global, less specialized, help more people, because that's how we are. That's how we work. We need to get to a place where we are aware of what we're doing to our brains. We have ways to change them. We are still working on our minds. We're meditating, we're journaling, we're goal setting, we are asking ourselves tough questions, we're seeing others and talking to them, we're using our social constructs, we're talking to our parents, whatever it is. We do a lot for our mind, but it's limited because we're not looking at the brain, and ultimately that should lead to us, more of us, living a reality that we're super pumped about and we're excited about. So if you're bad at meditating, you're low on the end of skill, it's okay. Learn about how your brain is working, change your brain, you will start understanding that mindfulness and meditation is a massively important piece of you as a person becoming aware of yourself. If you become aware of your behavior, aware of your interactions, aware of how you're getting through the world, you can start to adjust that and make the reality that you want. So if you're not, like for me, I was not okay being an angry driver. I became aware. I worked on it. I worked on the brain structures, and I now get little blips of anger during driving, but ultimately it's so much more relaxing and so much less taxing than it used to be. I wasn't okay with being angry and irritated and critical and judgmental of every other person. Everyone's doing things wrong. I am better, whatever. It's gross. It doesn't feel good. Change your brain, work on things that are broken, focus on, like for me, asking myself questions I've never asked myself, sitting and meditating. Like that is the driving force for changing who we want, in my opinion. So get to it. Get to meditating. If you're struggling and not getting through it, think about, look at and explore ways to change your brain so that meditating gets easier and more impactful, so that you can start living that life that you want and not just chalk it up to, well, that's just me. That's what I did. Oh, I'm just anxious. I'm just an irritated person. I'm an angry person. Whatever the sort. Nope, I don't want to be those things, so I can actually work on that, and mindfulness meditation is a big piece of that puzzle. See ya.